Okay, let's talk about the first reading in an arranged marriage. It's this wild mix of hope and, let's be real, a ton of anxiety. You're about to meet a person who could literally be your partner for life, and the pressure to get it right, it's huge.
So, picture this. You're sitting there, maybe at a coffee shop, maybe in a living room with family, buzzing around just out of sight. You've seen a photo, you know their name, but now they're sitting right in front of you. And that silence, it can feel absolutely deafening, right? What do you do? What on earth do you even say?
You know, this reminds me of a story from someone who's actually been through this. She remembers her own first meeting, watching her now husband and his friend just kind of nudging each other, both of them too terrified to say the first word. It's so real, so human, and it's a powerful reminder, isn't it? The person across from you is probably just as scared as you are. Okay, so you're both in the same boat, totally nervous. How do you actually break that ice? Well, it's probably a lot simpler than you think. Let's get into the very first move.
Look, the goal here isn't to dive into some super deep, soul-searching conversation right off the bat. Not at all. It's just about breaking the tension. A simple hello is perfect, and asking their name even when you already know it is a really gentle way to kick things off. The most important thing is your tone. Keep it light and friendly. You're just two people meeting. This is not a job interview.
All right, once you've said hello and the awkward silence has gone, it's time to go a little deeper than just, what's your favorite color? There's a much better way to get a real glimpse of who they are. And here's the really cool part, the psychology behind this question. When you ask someone about something they're genuinely passionate about, you see a total shift. Their guard just drops, the way they talk about it, the words they choose, the light in their eyes. That tells you so much more about their character than a boring list of hobbies ever could.
And this story is a perfect example of that in action. When she was asked what she loved to do, she didn't reel off a list of impressive skills. She just talked about the simple happiness she gets from riding her bike. That one little detail showed something so authentic about who she is, that she's someone who finds joy in the simple things. It made her instantly more relatable, more real.
Okay, so you're starting to get a feel for them as a person. Now it's time to zoom out a little and understand their world. Because let's be clear, in an arranged marriage, the conversation is never just about the two of you. Getting a sense of each other's family is absolutely crucial.
We've all heard that old saying, right? You don't just marry a person, you marry their family. And while relationships are always evolving, this idea still holds so much truth. Their family's dynamics, their values, all of that is going to be a big part of your life. So this isn't just small talk, it's pretty essential stuff. So how do you even bring this up without it sounding like an interrogation? Well, the key is to be casual about it. Don't put them on the spot. Just weave it into the conversation. Ask about their parents, what their brothers or sisters do. You're just trying to get a feel for their world and what makes their family tick. You'd be amazed at how a simple, seemingly small question can reveal so much. Let me give you a brilliant example of this.
So, our source asked her future mother-in-law a simple question about why she didn't dye her beautiful long hair. And the answer she got, wow, why dye my hair? With that money, I can run my house for a month. In just one sentence, it revealed this incredibly powerful core value, pragmatism. It was a huge insight into the family's whole philosophy on life and money. All right, we've covered a lot of good questions to ask. But now, we need to talk about the flip side, what you should absolutely not ask. There's one topic that's pretty much always a mistake to bring up in a first meeting. Yeah, it's that big one, the one we all think about. Should you ask about their exes? Their dating history? It's so tempting, right? You feel like you need to know. But should you go there? The answer honestly couldn't be clearer. Just don't. It's not the right time, and it's not the right place. And there are some really solid reasons for this. For starters, you're basically asking a stranger to unlock a really private part of their life, which is just awkward. Second, you're probably not going to get the whole truth anyway. And maybe most importantly, if this relationship is meant to be, that's a conversation that will happen naturally, down the road, once you've built some trust. Forcing it now just puts up a wall. Okay, so you've navigated the tricky parts, you've had a good chat, and now you can see the meeting winding down. How you end this is just as important as how you started. This is your chance to leave a really great, lasting impression. So as things are wrapping up, take a second to think about how they talked. Were they a straightforward speaker, just saying what they felt? Or were they more calculated, carefully weighing every single word? A person who speaks from the heart might seem a little blunt sometimes, but they're often easier to read and trust. It's just something to keep in mind as you form your final thoughts. And this is so important to remember. This whole thing is a two-way street. It's not an interview where you're just grilling them. A real connection only happens when you're both sharing, both opening up. So when do you jump in and share about yourself?
Look for those cues. When they start asking you questions, that's your green light. Be ready to talk about your own dreams, your passions, and yeah, be open about what you're actually looking for in a partner. That's how this goes from being an interview to a real connection. And finally, the last little tip to leave a great impression: end on a high note. A simple, genuine compliment really goes a long way. Something like, "I really enjoyed talking with you," or "It was so nice to meet you." It's respectful and it acknowledges the time and effort you both put in to be there. Because at the end of the day, a first meeting isn't an interview, and it's definitely not a test you can pass or fail. It's the conversation. It's the first page of a story that hasn't been written yet. So the real question is, what kind of story do you want to begin?